Hello, how are you guys doing? Welcome back to Rule of Two Review. So it should be noted before I get too deep into the video that, as I mentioned earlier on Twitter, I am nursing a very strange and super uncomfortable injury to my mouth currently. It makes it pretty difficult to speak sometimes and is probably something that I shouldn't even really be doing as far as recording a video, but I wanted to talk about this topic and I figured I would just let you guys know really quickly if in fact I sound kind of drunk or like I'm slurring my words or anything. It's really just my stupid injury, so apologies, that's just the way it is for this video. Hopefully I get over this injury kind of soon. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So let's go ahead and get into the topic. Okay, so with that embarrassing little piece of news out of the way, let's get to what's going on with Nintendo and the voice chat app for the Switch and for Splatoon, which, as a lot of us may know, did officially launch on iOS and Android stores yesterday. So it is now something you can officially go and download to your phone and your smart device. I did it myself. A lot of people I know have already done it, and it's not actually active yet. When you attempt to sign in with My Nintendo, it doesn't let you actually access the app because the servers are not yet live, but regardless, it's available. And also through this, most of the folks who are reviewing the game, a lot of the bigger media sites, and maybe some of the bigger YouTubers who might have access to Splatoon 2 review copies, appear to already also have access to the full version of this app for the sake of creating their custom lobbies and matchmaking and doing voice chat with people so that they can probably test it and kind of consider it as part of their review. There's been a lot of information now on the internet coming from a lot of these sources about how this app really works and if it's actually a quality way to voice chat. So I'm sure today a lot of us saw this picture floating around on the internet, which is a nice fun way to showcase how it might look to use a headset and your smartphone and the Nintendo Switch console while trying to play a game online with voice chat. And of course, it does not look very comfortable. It doesn't look very clean. And it's got a lot of people talking, mostly about how not great this setup really is. So we're at the point where even just by looking at the physical appearance, we can start to understand that this really isn't going to deliver the way a lot of us wanted to believe. And it is proving some of our biggest fears true, that this might be a big, cumbersome, weird mess that Nintendo probably should never have even considered in the first place. Now, beyond just the weirdness and awkwardness of the setup of using your smart device with the Nintendo Switch as exemplified by this picture, there's also been reports about what it's like to actually use the device while playing and trying to voice chat, and most of that has also not been great. There's two main points that everyone has been talking about, and I believe that the general first source of a lot of this information came from Kotaku. I think even the photo did. Don't quote me on that. I tried to research where that photo came from and who posted it. I have no idea, but my gut feeling is that it's from Kotaku. Beyond that, when it comes to how the device actually works while gaming, it kind of sounds like a mess. So those 2 points that I were talking about, first is the fact that apparently your smartphone actually has to stay on. Your screen has to be illuminated completely the entire time you're using it, connected to the app and connected to someone else via voice chat, which means you can't let your phone go to sleep and still be connected to the online service that's allowing you to chat with somebody else. This is completely counterintuitive to how every other app of this kind works on all of our smartphones. I mean, any other app that allows you to talk to someone will continue to run even if your phone goes to sleep or if your screen turns off. So we're at the point, apparently, with this Nintendo Switch app, as it stands currently, where if you're using it to voice chat, it's going to continue to be on and drain your battery simply because you're talking to someone online while gaming, which, when previously would happen through a completely separate device, being your console, and your phone would have no reason to be affected by the fact that you're gaming, but now we're kind of crossing those two worlds together. The other point, and this to me is an even bigger one, is apparently while using the voice chat app, if you're connected to it, you can't run a single other app on your phone. I don't even think that you can close out of the app itself. It has to always be running at the forefront of your smartphone, so you can't close it out and try to pull up a text or pull up Facebook or, I don't know, send an email or any of the other variety of things that we may choose to be doing on our phone when dinking around on it, but also connected to a voice chat. So suddenly you're so like rigidly tethered to this app as it's running and as you're trying to game and also talk with people online through Nintendo's service that it's really not sounding like it's very fun or convenient. And so at the end of the day, my ultimate feelings on this, based on this information that is public information but nothing from my own personal hands-on experience, is that as it sounds right now, it sounds like a mess. You guys, I have to admit, it doesn't sound great, it doesn't sound convenient, it doesn't sound fun, and it doesn't sound like it's going to be adding to the gaming or online experience when playing on Nintendo's newest console. And I have to admit that there is a huge level of problem that comes along with that. The other side to my opinion on this, though, is that I also don't super care. I've discussed this before when a lot of this information was doled out to us over the course of the last few months, and even the last year, whenever Nintendo first kind of mentioned the idea, and then over the last few months we got some more concrete details. At the end of the day, this isn't something I anticipate using or really spending a lot of my gaming time doing. I don't typically do that anyway. Even when I'm playing something online, I'm not usually talking to anyone. I'm just playing random people. So while I'm certainly excited to see what this thing is like and give it a shot with my own true hands-on time while gaming, I don't really expect a whole lot. And even if this thing is the disaster it appears to be, it's just not really going to super bother me personally. Where this does become a problem, and I do have to admit the huge glaring issue and mistake Nintendo has made here, is when it comes to other people, to other gamers, and to the wider gaming consumer. I mean, I can only admit that I'm a Nintendo fan that wants to see Nintendo be successful, and in being successful, you need to release products and services that meet the demand, make people satisfied, and are also kind of living up to the true standard of what the competition presents at that given time. And as it stands right now, everything Nintendo is doing with this app is just a complete debacle. It's an honest to God catastrophe, you guys. That's exactly what this thing is. And it hurts me to say, but we gotta be real. I gotta be real with you, man. This thing is not great. This is not, I think, where Nintendo should have focused their online efforts, especially when I think it's something that they really should be focusing on as a whole. Now, I'll remind you guys of two big caveats when it comes to this information and how not great all of this stuff seems as of today. The first being, as I already mentioned, I haven't actually used this and put it into practice, and I'm 99% sure almost, if not all of you out there, have also not yet used it or put it into practice. We're not going to have that opportunity for another 2 days, at least from the day of this recording. And that's a very important detail here that can't really go unnoted. We need to actually know what it's like when we're using it in our gaming life, not just what all of the reviews say or just what people who have access to it early are saying and showing us all these god-awful pictures of this mess of wires and cables and devices. Like, it's probably going to be as bad as we're seeing and hearing, but you don't truly know until you've had a chance to do it and try it yourself, and that counts for something. The other caveat, and this is the biggest one here that I think not enough people are talking about yet, is this is the beta of the app. Technically, this is the unfinished, newly released, we're still working on to refine the product beta of Nintendo's Nintendo Switch app. And that is another huge thing to take note of and to remember here, guys. Part of the reason this is even happening is because they need a reason to get the app into people's hands, to get it out into the market, to stress test it, to get user feedback, and to see how it actually works and functions in a real-world, real-life gaming setting, so that they can have it fixed, hopefully fixed, and fine-tuned by the time the final version of the app and Nintendo's online service launches sometime in 2018. We, again, don't yet know the final details or release date or any of that stuff. We just know the price, and we know that it's coming out in 2018. So, with any luck, part of the reason it's launching now and in such an admittedly broken state is so that Nintendo can get user feedback and try to fine-tune and fix this thing and make it something that, I mean, if Nintendo's going to force us to use these dumb smartphone apps, hopefully make it a little bit more user-friendly. And to me, if your phone doesn't have to stay on, and if you're allowed to tool around with other apps and just use your phone as a regular device, even while still connected to a voice chat lobby, I think that is going to go a long way to making this thing feel a little bit less cumbersome and a little bit less intrusive into our lives when trying to just do something as simple and as game, and also be connected to the online network of the console we're playing on. Right now, as it stands, this thing is completely separating Nintendo from the rest of its modern day competition, and in a negative way. A lot of times, I bring this up a lot. Most Nintendo fans will. This is what makes Nintendo great. A lot of times they separate themselves from the pack in a positive way, in a way that shows their innovation can actually move themselves as a company and gaming as a hobby forward and show unique, innovative ideas. This is one of those instances that's also fairly common with Nintendo, if we're being honest with ourselves, that is separating themselves in a negative way and showing that they're not quite yet up to the curve. They don't quite yet understand how to deliver an experience like this that people want, and they're making it, unfortunately, a little bit sloppy. But I will end this very, very difficult for me to record video here with this one last note. And this is similar to the way I ended the last discussion we had about the Splatoon headset and the voice chat app a couple of months ago too. At the end of the day, I don't super think this thing being a disaster really matters. It matters, so I think I need to probably choose my words carefully here. I don't want to say that it's not important, because online gaming is extremely mammothly important to gaming and to gamers today. It absolutely is, which is why I think Nintendo's pushing so hard for it. That being said, if this app just never gets any better, and the whole situation with trying to voice chat with people online on the Nintendo Switch never truly gets better than what this app is as it stands right now, I don't think it's going to overall damage Nintendo or the Switch's success too much, if at all. Honestly, I feel like Nintendo has already set themselves apart in that good way I was just speaking about, on a path where the quality of the Switch as a device and the quality of Nintendo's first-party content so far, and if that stuff continues and even third-party stuff starts to show up, honestly, I feel like the Switch has already carved out a niche for itself where it can just move forward. And if people have to stop using this app and everyone's just using phone conversations and Google Hangouts and Discord throughout the next couple of years while the Switch is what it is, I feel like people are still going to be buying Switches, people are still going to be playing and enjoying their Switches, and great new games, even online games, will continue to come out and release for the Switch, and people will still buy and enjoy those. We'll just use different things, different apps and ways to communicate other than this dumb app, and I feel like that's going to be totally fine. The argument could be said that more and better success might come if Nintendo were to release something a little bit more serviceable and up-to-date as far as an online voice chat kind of service and infrastructure. Yes, that's true. I agree with that, because this thing right now kind of sucks. It's just a dumb setup and a dumb thing that they're doing, and I don't really know why they felt they had to do this. So an improved version would only be good for Nintendo. But I do feel that the kind of horrible version that it is right now isn't necessarily quote-unquote bad for Nintendo. I think they've already got themselves in a good position. So that's the way I see it. You know, tell me what you guys think about this below. Hopefully I was able to make it through this video okay as far as my voice and my speech, and not trying to sound like I'm, you know, freaking totally drunk off my ass, like I said in the beginning of this video. Very, very hard for me to speak right now, and I had to really force myself through this video, but I wanted to discuss this topic because I think it's important, and I find it pretty interesting, honestly. So, if you didn't hate hearing me force myself through this video, I do want to hear what you think about Nintendo and the voice chat app and everything that they released, and what's going on with this whole Splatoon mess, man. Is it going to work out for the better? Do you not really care? Do you think that the app looks fine, or do you think it looks totally disastrous like I and most people do? What do you think is going to happen with the future of Nintendo's online service? Tell me what you guys think below. Thank you so much for tuning in and sticking it out through this video. I do always appreciate it, guys. This is Rob of Rule of Two Review, and I will catch you next time on another video.